You're listening to Parts and Charts. I'm Chelsea Owens, a therapist certified in internal family systems, and my co-host, KP Kajabowski, is an astrologer. We're testing the theory that IFS and astrology are mapping the same inner territory. Every episode, we put that to the test. Glad you're here.
Damn.
Myth.
Okay, hi everyone. Chelsea's back.
Hi,
Are we
everyone.
ready?
Are we ready? It feels so good. I really have been missing recording. It's been 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like it's been a lifetime since we recorded. But yay, here we are. I'm so glad. Yeah.
So how do you feel after returning from an undisclosed location? Do you want to share where you... I didn't want to make... It doesn't have to be like a secret, but I didn't want to dox you.
We don't need to put our, private lives on the pod. But no, it felt great. I was in a, tropical place, of course, celebrating my birthday on a beach. That's all I want to do is just soak up the sun and swim in warm water. So that's what I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds so nice.
41.
You're also
great.
Your birthday address on Substack.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
Really?
So we should link that. We should link that in the show notes.
It was like 1% birthday address, and I'd say 99% just talking about the Cancer archetype, which is like some thoughts I wanted to put out there about, and maybe that it was more of a Cancer address because of the crybaby aspect of like what I see online. Just feels so, and the like hyper caretaking role that Cancer gets put into. We'll do a whole episode about that, about caretaking and caregiving. Yeah.
That idea you shared about like, well, maybe Cancers are always crying because they're so tired from taking care of everyone around them.
Yes.
Like, yeah, I think that's, it's like what's it called? The stereotype persists because it's the result of what's actually happening.
Yeah.
That was interesting to think about.
Yeah. It's a symptom of, what we're always being asked to do. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. When I was really young, I read a list of like qualities of the Cancer, like someone who has a Cancer sun or whatever. And one of them was competent. And it's still stuck in my head. It's like, that's such an interesting word to think about with like, if you're going to choose one sign, it's Cancer. Like, yeah, Cancerians are so competent because they like think about the mother archetype too, or the parent archetype. It doesn't have to be gendered. Like parents have to know how to do everything because they are in charge of every emergency. Like they have to do CPR. They have to know how to cook. It's like they have to know how to do everything, and usually by themselves because the kid can't do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So competencies, interesting. My mom is Cancer sun, the most competent.
Yeah. I have so many friends who have Cancer moms. I don't know if I've met a Cancer who is incompetent or like, I know so many, especially Cancer females who like get shit done. Like they just, they are hardworking. They're bosses. They're actually not super emotional. I mean, they can be, but they know when to like put aside their emotions and be like, no, we have to get this fucking task done. Like this is what we're going to do. And then they have to like lead the whole group because everyone else is incompetent.
Yeah.
Like
to that point,
type A Cancer females who are just like, this is what we're doing. Let's fucking do it. Yeah.
To that point, like if I'm hiring someone, I kind of want to know what the day they're born and if they're born in Cancer season because like, project managers. I'm looking for a project manager born late June into July.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Is that illegal? Is that illegal with HR to say
first time when you're hiring them?
Or to say I only hire people of a certain zodiac sign?
Well, yeah, that might be discrimination. But you could definitely ask for birth information and then just, not hire people.
Interesting. Well, I'm not hiring for now or probably for a long time, so I think we're okay. Anyway, so here's the topic of our discussion today. we're kind of just going to float around and pull together our experience and talk about it. The concept of weddings. And I have some things prepared for the end of this episode and putting that at the end of the episode because it's a lot of technical information, but specifically around making the choice of like the date and time to get married from purely astrological perspective. So if that is of interest to you, wait until the end. If you already have a wedding date chosen and you can't move it, don't listen to the end of this episode because I might contradict some things, and that's not what I mean to do. It's just some interesting things to think about when you're choosing a specific date, which is a type of astrology called electional astrology, and I'll get into that later. But we'll be more conceptual in the beginning of the episode talking about weddings. And so maybe you can see if you're watching the video, my name is Kiki today and Chelsea's name is Chi Chi today. So Chi Chi, when we're thinking about weddings from your perspective as like a parts work IFS therapist, maybe art therapist, like what comes to mind as like an interesting aspect to weddings?
Well, I mean, a lot of people come, not a lot, but many people come to therapy to try to like answer this question. Not necessarily like when should I get married, but like whether I should marry somebody or not. Yeah, I was just having this discussion with my supervisee last week because yeah, we were going over like, how, in general, how people come to therapy with a big question like that, and they usually want an answer. And like, of course, it's not our job. It's not my job as a therapist to say like, you should do that. You should do that. You should do this. Like, I'm not going to give those answers out so freely, even though in my head, I'm like, I know what you should do.
Yeah.
Or like, not like what you should do, but like, this sounds like a great option. That one, not so much. But I'm not going to say that because it's not going to be super helpful, right? It's only going to be helpful for them to really excavate like what parts are involved in this decision process. And I would say, well, I would hope that by the time you're making a big decision like that, that you're making it from self and that all of your parts are on board with whatever decision you're going to make. So I would probably go, I would yeah, I would just have client explore like what parts are coming up around like wanting to marry this person, like what parts, maybe don't want to marry this person or what parts are feeling. So kind of weighing both sides, but, like feeling like, am I doing this to, please other people or family members, or am I worried about perceptions if I don't do it? There's so many things that can come up, so I don't even want to give too many examples, but it's a huge decision, and it's great that people are coming to therapy to get support with such a big decision. And I can see just like how much pain and like, how much people are struggling trying to figure out these big questions. And then a part of me also wonders like, okay, if someone's really grappling with such a huge decision, like, are we asking the right questions? Like, should you like if the fact that you're even asking all these big questions and so unsure, like, is that in itself telling us that maybe you shouldn't marry this person? Is that in itself something that's not right? Or is it just some parts that are feeling super anxious and just need to like, there's something else there that has nothing to do with the person that you want to marry or that you're dating that needs to be addressed? Like, is this a past issue or a current issue? Like, is this an issue with my parts feeling activated around something that happened a long time ago, but they're getting a little, they're coming to the surface for something that's like also happening right now, but it's not really about what's happening right now. It's like something from the past
Yeah.
to be healed, right? Or is it okay, something actually currently happening, like most, you know, parts, let's say, have healed a lot of stuff from my past, and it really is a present issue, like with, this relationship with this person, and something that needs to be addressed before I can really like have a clear decision about yes or no if I want to marry this person. So that's what's coming up for me right now. Really
Yeah.
big questions to answer. And yeah, kind of weighing both sides and hearing just from all the parts that are involved in that huge decision. and seeing what you can do to work with, or even, if there's some unburdening that needs to happen with some of those parts, to see if that will hopefully lead to a path of like more clarity in order to make a really good informed decision.
This is making me want to know, like, if you've been like with a client for a few months, like long enough to know, to have their trust, and they've expressed that they trust you, and you can sense that they don't feel close to like what their gut is saying, or what their instinct or their intuition, or whatever word you want to use. Like, what's a good exercise that you could do with a client or with yourself to help build that intuition, to make sure you can sense that it's your intuition and not your anxiety making a decision? Or is it really parts work is like the way to get that information?
Work, and I mean, it's gonna probably look different for everybody. So I don't really know specifics, but inquiring about how someone experiences their own self energy, to help people understand what it feels like, maybe in their body, or yeah, just an embodied experience of making a decision and feeling self energy. So I think that's where I would go. Because to me,
Yeah.
that would lead to, yeah, like being able to be in touch with intuition. Mhm.
Right. And even just that exercise of like, oh yeah, when I think about it in this way, I feel like I'm in self energy. But the other way, I am not making a decision from myself. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, but I don't necessarily, I wouldn't necessarily ask like about the decision. I wouldn't maybe say like, all right, let's think about what it feels like in your body to make the decision or not. I mean, maybe, but yeah, I would just continue to work with parts and like try to help client to get into as much self energy and feel as much self energy as they can.
Yeah.
And I imagine like, if we worked with whatever parts were coming up around a decision, that they would start, if they were healed and they, maybe had some burdens to unload, they probably would relax a little bit, or a lot. And that just opens up way more spaciousness to just have more clarity and know like, oh yeah, this is what I want to do. This is not what I want to do. So I just feel like if whatever needs to be healed it gets healed, you'll have more clarity about your answer, and whether, yeah,
Yeah.
just what feels right and what feels doesn't feel right, because your parts just aren't going to feel as activated around whatever it was that was coming up around the relationship, or like whether you should marry somebody or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would
Hmm.
you use the word space? Like in that moment, you have more space to make decisions? Or is that a
I,
different kind of term in IFS?
I would say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, because I,
Yeah.
I feel like to me, spaciousness like feels like, I don't, yeah, there's room inside to like breathe and have a certain amount of freedom. And it's not as like compact with like parts trying to get your attention and noise. And yeah, that's how I think about it, and
Yeah.
experience, feel it. Yeah. Does that
The
seem
more
like confusing to you, or does that just seem like a new concept?
No, it's really clicking, and maybe my face is like question marking, but maybe my brow is furrowed, but I'm
Yeah.
thinking about just like the older I'm getting, I don't know if it's because of age. This
Yeah.
is something I think about all the time as an astrologer. I'm a time magician. Like it's all about the quality of time. But I
Yeah.
don't know if it's that I have aged or that I have been more intentional about making space inside of me so things don't feel so dire or like they're not
Yeah.
so high pressured. And
Yeah.
so I can make decisions because I don't have this like, sorry for the language, but like gun to my head kind of feeling that I have to make a decision. And I think that's
Yeah.
because I've gone through therapy. I've really like sat with really uncomfortable things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's what I'm thinking about right now is
Well, and
so
exactly like what you're
yeah.
saying, like, sorry, I imagine like that they're, like you said, a gun to your head, or what it feels like, having a gun to your head, like that's probably a part, right? That's like
Yeah.
putting that pressure on you. And if that's not feeling, if that gets addressed, if that part like becomes, kind of more integrated into your system, it's just not going to be doing that. And then, yeah,
Right.
you're going to be able to like just sit and be like, all right, I know what I want to do. Because I'm not feeling that urgency. I'm not feeling this part that's like freaking out.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
it's obvious to us as we're talking about it, but it's like it's a little bit harder in practice, huh?
right.
Or it can be.
And so like I have so many pins about marriage and weddings, and I'm trying to like choose which one I want to express at one point. But
Yeah.
there's that like the common wisdom that's shared is
Mhm.
like don't get married
Yep.
young, but there are exceptions to that rule. And so like how do you know if you're the exception to the rule? All these things.
Yeah.
And as an astrologer, like, yeah, don't get married before your Saturn return because whatever. Or
Really?
don't,
You say that?
I think that is something to consider for some people. I got married like right at my Saturn return.
Wait,
And I'm
29?
not saying, I think I had just turned 29. So yeah, I was like 6 months after my Saturn return.
The ongoing joke
But
on the pod is that KP got married like when she was a child.
and nope, I just got married in my 20s, the last year of my 20s. But my husband was 20. He was 27. He was like 1 month from turning 28. So that was before his Saturn return. So like, does that
So
mean we're going to get divorced someday? No, like, because he has a level of maturity that most people don't have like into their 80s. So I feel safe about it.
plus
But I'm
you guys
bringing
are
this up.
partners. It's just different and it's more normalized where you are in the world, I think. It is.
You treat the Midwest like we're Amish.
Hey, I'm one of
I
you.
lived in a city, okay? I lived in
I'm
Metropolis.
also a part of the Amish, but I moved away, so I'm kind of an outcast and a weirdo now. But and all that to say, like I don't fit in there because of these reasons, because I didn't get married
Yeah.
when I was that age. But I know
Yeah.
pretty much everyone I know from the Midwest got married around that time, so it's like very normalized. Yeah,
Yeah, it is. It's interesting to think of like when my mom got married, I think she was like 21 and she
yeah.
was like one of the last in her friend group to get married, you
Isn't
know?
that crazy? Yeah,
Yeah, and then like I was one of the first in my friend group to get married.
yeah,
So it's also a generational thing. Anyway, where
yeah,
was I going with this? I just can't imagine being 21 and making this kind of decision in my life. There are some 21-year-olds who have the maturity or the space or the
yeah,
options, the freedom inside of their system to make a decision that is that big, that
yeah.
has a lot of consequences. We don't talk about the benefits of marriage as much, I guess, but it's just a huge decision that I wouldn't trust myself at 21 with because as an astrologer, there were some things I had to go through in process and,
Yeah.
work through in order to commit my basically my life to someone
Yep.
and to be someone that you could commit to, like
Mm-hmm.
honest integrity, all these things that I didn't have when I was 21.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anyway, so
Yeah.
that's what I'm thinking about. Is that I think age does have a factor, and it's also like your willingness to grapple with uncomfortable things and make
Yeah.
space.
Yeah. Yeah. I am gonna speak for a part of me that I'm noticing right now that, and I'm unmarried, so like my parts have a lot of feelings about marriage, and I'm a therapist, so that yeah would like wants to like warn younger people of getting married too soon and feels like, oh my God, there's so much life to live in your 20s, like so much to figure out, and like how great that you get to do that freely on your own and like experience life and all the fun things that can happen. And like living alone is like I would prescribe it to everybody at some point in their life to be able to live alone. But I also know that not everyone's like as excited to be on their own as much as I am. I
Yeah.
know a lot of people struggle to be like single, but also like to be, yeah, unpartnered or completely on their own. And I love it. So I think I have parts that are like everyone should experience that, or everyone needs to be able to be on their own first before they can experienced partnership. And I don't know if that's true, but I definitely have a part that feels that way. That's like, I just want everyone in their 20s to like fuck around and find out and have fun and make mistakes and enjoy. And why would you want to be coupled in your 20s? But that's so coming from a part of me. I know a lot of people are happy doing that, and that's great. And learning a lot in partnership as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm
Yeah. And like
just,
some people see marriage as like part of life opening up for them. And I don't know if I'm one of those people.
mhm.
Marriage feels really good to me. I like the experience. 10 out of 10 would recommend if you find someone like I
You
have.
married the right person. So let's just say that.
Yeah. But also I dated a lot of wrong people. And I think that's so I agree with you in your 20s or whatever age. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, like date the wrong people
Yeah.
and find out that they're wrong because it's all about like experiencing yourself in these different experiences and with other people. Like, yeah, totally. And like
Hmm.
when I was younger, I thought it was such a closed-minded thing to say that marriage is a financial agreement or like you need to enjoy your like future spouse's family before
Hmm.
you decide to get married to that person. I thought that was so old-fashioned and kind of just like, no, like love is all you need. And now that I'm married, I think we're almost 8 years. Like, yeah, actually, if I was married into a family that sucked, like it would be misery. But like, I'm
Hmm.
so glad I got to know Marty's family and that they're very good people. They're good to each other. They're generous, like all these things.
Hmm.
So like, yes, I agree with that now that I'm older. And also like, it is a financial agreement. If you marry someone who has a gambling addiction, your whole life is ruined. Your whole life is digging up from the bottom of a hole that you didn't dig. Or, you know what I mean? Like, so it is a financial agreement in that when you legally bind yourself to someone, your fate is bound to their parts and their addictions and their wounds and their joys and everything, as well as yours. Like, you already have these things that you deal with that you know are deficits and like
Hmm.
great parts of yourself. So you're like, it is a huge risk if you don't know that person well enough and you don't view it as a financial risk. And so don't get into
Yeah.
this lifelong agreement that could ruin the rest of your life. So I don't know. That's one of the major things
Well, I think, I
I
mean, and you
knew
said like
beforehand, but
if you don't know the person well enough, I think, yeah, that's true. But I think what feels more important is if you don't know yourself as well.
yes,
And
yes.
I think entering into something super big and super, yeah, could be life changing, could be life ruining, like knowing yourself, period. Like you're going to have a lot of time to get to know the other person for sure. And yeah, you don't want to marry somebody like, who has a lot of stuff you don't know about that could be harmful. I think that's a little bit more rare than like we think, but knowing yourself 100%, like knowing yourself well enough to actually feel safe enough to be in a partnership and then being able to show your true self, all of your parts to your partner. And yeah, so I think just maturity and knowing yourself, like that feels like the thing that everyone should be focused on. And because we spend so much time, like we're saying, like going into, should I marry this person? And there's so much focus on the other person, like the other, like, well, they're like this and they're like that and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, yeah, okay, yes, but also like, let's focus on you. Like, what is going on inside of you? What needs to be healed? Like, what are you bringing to this? What's going to make you feel good or not feel good? Like, that feels super important to me.
I really love that we're having a conversation between a seventh house moon and a first house moon
Yeah, say more.
because you're advocating for the self
Yeah,
in the
I
agreement.
am. Yep.
I'm so concerned with the other in the agreement.
I know. I
Yeah.
know. But because if I know myself and I'm feeling so solid in this, like I can handle any of that shit. I can handle the financial pitfall. I can handle cheating. I can handle whatever you want to throw. Like it will be okay if I have a solid foundation and I know
Yeah.
myself, like I can get through it. And I think a lot of people are pretty terrified and their parts are pretty terrified that they're not going to be able to get through it. That these things are going to be life enders, you know, and it's going to ruin me. And it's like, it's not. It won't. It'll suck. It'll feel really fucking bad. And you'll probably have to go to therapy, but that's why we have therapy. But like, you'll be okay. You know, you have to, your relationship to self is so important. Yeah.
Yeah. And still also make sure you don't marry someone who has a gambling addiction.
I mean, yeah, it's not like
An
ideal,
active.
not
Yeah.
ideal, but like you can get through it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah.
See, I'm not a therapist, and so I can say such intense things,
You
and now I'm
can.
like regretting it because like
You love the dramatic sentences.
too. And then I'm not condemning people who have addiction. I'm just saying like that would give me that would be I don't think I well, I, am I saying something that is limiting? But I don't know how I would cope if I had that financial agreement with someone that was so out of my control. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that brings up a good point that like there's a lot that we can't control when we're merging with another person because we can't control the other person, right?
Yeah.
And finance is definitely one of those things. Yeah. And it's like,
Yeah.
all right, like this affects me too. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. Hmm.
On that note, so in astrology, we talk about the seventh house as being the house of marriage. It's that following house, the eighth house, where we talk about combined resources and debts and, yeah, like things that you exchange in that marriage. And sometimes it is talked about as your marriage partners or your business partners'
Mm.
assets.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, like, after marriage, you really quickly move into the eighth house of intimacy because
Huh.
there's such high risk in that experience. Anyway, that's a little tidbit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
My Pisces house. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, you have Pisces there. Pisces is, yeah, an interesting eighth house, I think. That's all Leo risings in the ancient system have a Pisces eighth house. And Pisces is the energy of like unconditional love and
Mm.
acceptance and harmony amongst all people, you know?
Mm. Cute.
And also, they have no boundaries.
Is that why I'm
So it's
like, oh, if they have a gambling addiction, it's okay.
maybe, and mine is a Leo eighth house, and I'm like, don't fuck with my light. Like
Right.
I don't mess with me. Like I need you to do good by me and yourself.
That's so true.
Yeah, so maybe a little more fire with my feeling around that.
That's true. Yeah. And this
Yeah.
is okay. And because Aquarius is my seventh house of marriage, like the whole conversation we had before we were online, how I'm just like super, I don't know if I could see myself in a non-monogamous marriage or relationship, but, and maybe because also I'm a therapist, so I see all kinds of dynamics and I'm so open to, I'm just like open-minded. And, so I can see all these things working for a lot of people and not working, but I think that's also because Aquarius is like the, you know, the alien, the weirdo, the kind of unconventional thinker that I'm just kind of like, whatever. If I'm married 4 times, it's cool. If I'm not married, it's cool. Like spend a
Yeah.
bunch of time alone and get married whenever you want. Marry a few people. It's all good. But is that right? Is that
I
Aquarius
mean,
seventh house?
that's how you're feeling, so it feels right.
And I think like also in, yeah, maybe this is also because of my like kind of more traditional upbringing that I just rebel so hard against
Yeah.
really traditional stuff. Like that's why yeah, if I ever got married, I just can't imagine it being really traditional. I can't imagine it being in like a holy place or religious, you know, setting or yeah, even wearing a white dress. I'm like, I can't imagine any of it.
Yeah.
Bridesmaids, like it makes me cringe a little bit for myself. And you know, I love it for other people, but when it comes to me, I'm just like, oh man, that just like does not sound like me. I just can't imagine. It has to be alternative. It has to be some other way. Yeah. So maybe that's also
That
Aquarius.
that makes sense to me for the
Yeah.
Aquarius seventh house for sure. You
Yeah.
also, the ruler of that house for you is Saturn. That's true for everyone with Aquarius seventh house. And your Saturn is in that house of foundations. And so there's
Yeah.
even more information that you want to rebel against where you come from. You know what I
Oh,
mean? So there's some interesting information there. And I think Saturn's aspecting another planet, I can't remember of yours, that could give you another
Pluto?
information about why you
Yeah.
don't want to wear a white dress.
Really?
Do you remember which one it was? I think maybe it was your Mercury.
Really? In the first?
I think so.
We're not 11th. It's not like opposing Gemini.
No,
No?
your Saturn's in the fourth house and it's I think it's squaring your Mercury in the first.
Really?
So there could be something too about like self-expression, like Mercury as like how we express our ideas connected to not wanting to wear a white dress.
Fascinating.
Something like that. Yeah. So
Wow.
yeah, there's a lot of information that we can get about the seventh house just by bopping around and seeing who's talking to who.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
basically, seventh house is the marriage house. But are there what are some other ways, or what would you also look for like marriage clues in the chart?
Ooh,
I know.
I think I want to take a card out of your deck. Is that the phrase? Something out of your something and talk first about the self. So
Okay.
like before all else, being intimate with your chart ruler, so the planet that rules your first house, which is the house of self,
Yes.
is so important. So if you feel like you are embodying or in some way expressing that planet's energy, that's a good place to start.
Oh,
So yours is the sun, mine is Saturn. So if you're acting in that archetype, you feel very confident there. Cool. I think you're ready to get married, possibly.
really?
And then you look at the seventh house and whatever's happening in the seventh house. So maybe there's a planet in there that is aspecting another planet that'll give you a lot of information for who your partner is. And this could be business partner.
Hmm.
This could be marriage partner, but it's like that partner in your life that could wreak havoc. So the seventh house is also called the house of known enemies, by the way. And yeah, your marriage partner is most likely to be your most intimately known enemy because
Yeah.
the person that you have squabbles with more than anyone else in your lifetime, probably. So thinking about that, any planets in the house will give you information. If they're talking to anything else, aspecting something else, that'll give you information. And then the ruler of that house, wherever that is in the chart, will give you a lot of information about who your partner is and maybe what your wedding will feel like, what your marriage will feel like. And also, like, it's not fate. Like, it is fate. We can talk about it as like, yes, this is the energetic signature of your life. And also, you can use that energy to express it more precisely or more profoundly. And I can talk about mine because it's my chart. I have the moon, Chiron, and Jupiter in that house. And interestingly, maybe I have only had like significant relationships with people who were ruled by the moon or ruled by Jupiter.
Yeah, Cancer guys.
So
Hmm.
yeah, I've dated a lot of Cancer suns, not a lot, but I've had serious relationships with Cancer suns and Sagittarius suns, and maybe a Pisces, probably not. My one of my best friends is a Pisces sun, so I consider him a seventh house person for me. Anyway, so like that, I already know right away that those planets are connected to who my partner is. So the planets sometimes show up as people in your
Yeah.
life. uh, I'm also a twin, and it's been a great relationship and a very difficult relationship. So I attribute my Chiron to my twin
Oh,
in that house. And
true.
also, like, we shared a body for a while. So my moon being in that house really connects to my relationship with my twin.
Hmm.
So already right there, I have a lot of information about who the like major partners of my life feel like to me. And
Hmm.
it's also interesting that the ruler of my seventh house that is in Cancer is the moon, is in that house. And so there's this kind of like spiralic feeling of like a partnership was always going to be very important to me
Yeah.
in many different ways. And so it did make sense to me that I got married young in your mind. I mean, I started dating Marty when I was 25 or something. So that was really young in my mind
Yeah.
because my moon was in the seventh house and my seventh house is ruled by the moon. So applying that to your charts, let's say you have a Libra 7th house and your Venus is in the 10th house. The 10th house has a lot to do with the exterior life, public perception, career, where you put your effort out into the world. So the ruler of your 7th house is in this exterior, the facing house. Like, it's likely that your partner has something to do with your career, or you
Mm.
meet them out when you're shaking hands and kissing babies or something like that. Like
Mm.
that, it's likely that you will find your partner in that expression. And applying that logic to you is that the ruler of your 7th house is in the house of foundations, the 4th house.
That's
But
right.
if we're just talking about Venus, which is the planet of love and connection, yours is in the 11th house of like-minded individuals and collectivism and like social media, like getting together to share ideas. So it's potentially possible. It's possible that you may find the person that you love and connect with through friends or through like group settings, if that makes sense. So there's a lot of ways to think about this. And a lot of astrologers talk about how do you find your partner? And I think that's a whole different topic that we can do in a different episode, but that's just kind of a taste of that.
Mm-hmm.
As it relates to my marriage, because I am married right now, forever. My husband also is a Capricorn rising, so his 7th house is Cancer as well. His moon is in the 10th house, and he did meet me in a career setting. We met specifically at like a film screening. Yeah, his movie was screening. I was running the festival, and that's how we met. So that made sense to me. His Venus being in the 7th or the 12th house, I don't know how that relates to our relationship, but it is really strange how all of those like astrological things, like how do you find your partner, really did line up for us. So he doesn't have any planets in his 7th house, but the ruler of that house, the moon, is in the house of career, and that's how we met.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And
what is
Jupiter?
Oh, go ahead.
Is in your 7th house.
Yeah.
Jupiter rules Sagittarius. He's a Sagittarius.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Another thing is that my Venus is in the 11th house, and I considered filmmaking as like-minded individuals getting together. It was a career for a bit, and but it felt more like an artistic expression for me. And so that's my Venus being there makes sense too.
Yeah.
Another thing is where he grew up, where his family is like farmland, so close to where both of my grandparents' families farmed. And so I hadn't been up there in my lifetime, I'm pretty sure, but his family still lives up there. So there's something about like moon energy being like your ancestors and memory and like home that felt like, like he does come from my ancestral home in some way, northern Wisconsin. So something about that, I think. Okay. That was probably too much technical language, but
not at all.
Here we are.
Everybody wants it.
Another thing that might relate is that we got married in my hometown, which was not necessarily a decision either of us made, but we have a Cancer 7th house. So maybe that's why it happened, is that, going back home to get married.
You mean your parents decided that?
Maybe I don't want this on record.
Yes.
We could have gotten married where we lived in Milwaukee, but we got married in my hometown.
Yeah. I mean, that's what people do that. It's like, that's very normal, right? It's a common thing to get married where you're from, or like you go back to your home. Like that's pretty traditional, right?
There was 100 different reasons why it made sense. Like my grandparents were aging and it was hard for them to travel and all this stuff. So
yeah. You don't have to explain yourself. We get it.
Yeah, but I wish I got married not in Janesville. Yeah.
Do you want to? Well, what was my question? I'm curious to hear a little bit more about, like, you said, like, you know from your chart, like, what your wedding will be like or feel like. Can you say more about that?
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah, say more.
I mean, I think that's like really broad strokes comments, but it could give people inspiration.
Yeah.
What did you say?
Give some hot takes.
Okay. I mean, it could give you, if you're in the planning stages and you have a certain 7th house, like this could give you a good idea, like, because there's like a bajillion decisions to make when you're planning a wedding, right?
Yeah.
So like let's say you have, do you want to say a random zodiac sign?
Aquarius.
Okay, Aquarius. If you're planning an Aquarius, like you have a 7th house and you're planning a wedding, you might want to choose a place that's like far away from X, like far away from where you live, far away from your family, far away from your country. There's this sense within the Aquarius archetype of like getting perspective. And it's also ruled by Saturn, and Saturn is that edge walker kind of energy. So yeah, isolation might be the word, but that could also mean like you want just like a small group of people.
Yeah.
So that's one way to think about it. But Aquarius is the type, so that Saturn rules Capricorn and Aquarius. Capricorn is the Earth Saturn sign, and Aquarius is the air Saturn sign. So there's more of this like intellectual, mental, theoretical sense. So you might want to do something that's like themed, like truly themed.
That's so true.
Like you might want everyone to wear something from the future. Or cowboy. Yeah, like having like a themed wedding feels very Aquarius to me, because like there's also this element of like Aquarius is kind of like you can't quite pin them down because they don't want to be pinned down, but they do have a pretty fixed identity inside of themselves, but they don't necessarily express it. So there's that like play with identity, which is interesting.
God, could you imagine a Capricorn having a themed wedding? They're like rolling their eyes right now, but like, hell no. But
I think if the Capricorn archetype had a themed wedding, it would be themed by something really important about their life.
Be sophisticated.
You know what I mean?
Be classy and sophisticated.
So, there are some goofy Capricorns in the world, but like I'm thinking of like people who really love where they live. Like they live. What if they live in Mexico City? They really want like a Mexico City wedding. I think that could happen.
For sure.
But I don't know if they could do like a Barbie wedding.
Like a costume wedding. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they would do like a Halloween wedding or.
Oh my God, no.
Yeah. I could see an Aquarius archetype doing that for sure.
For sure.
Yeah. I also know a lot of Scorpio dominant people have Halloween weddings. And I don't know if it's because it's in Scorpio season, but like Scorpio energy, I think also likes to play a little bit with like, you can't catch me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
something to think about. Let's do another one. What's another sign that we could talk about?
Leo.
Okay. The opposite of Aquarius. So if your 7th house is in Leo, or you have a lot of Leo energy, a way that you could make decisions is like really honoring your name and who you are, where you come from. It might actually be a wedding where there's two distinct energies that are combined because it's two distinct selves combining their lives. So how there's like some weddings that have like there's green on one side and there's gold on the other.
Yeah.
Because like the groom is the gold side and the whatever the marriage partner is on the green side.
Yeah.
And they do like that sand thing with two different colors and it mixes. Like that feels very Leo to me.
Oh.
Because like they're honoring that they're individuals, right?
Totally.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. Leo's harder because
Leo
also really enjoys aesthetic, because aesthetic helps with, like, for lack of a better word, branding.
Yeah, it's so true.
And Leos are so great at like, they're so great at brands because they're like, this is what we are. This is how we do it. There's not a lot of room for, what's the word? Like ambiguousness.
Yeah. Ambiguity.
Yeah. So it's hard to say what a Leo's wedding would be like because they already know who they are. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
A Libra 7th house, though, it has to be beautiful.
Pretty.
And like chic. Pretty. Yeah. And so you probably don't want like, what is not pretty? A race car wedding.
No.
Or something
it
like
has
that.
To be like in a chic library.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it would be classy as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, where do we go from here?
What's the funnest wedding you've ever been to? No, just kidding. You don't have to say.
I don't know if this is just people flattering us, but we have been told so much that ours was like, we get texts still. It's like 8 years later. I got a text from like one of my college best friends, like, we were just talking about how your wedding was the most fun wedding we've ever been to. And I was like, really? Like, it was only like 4 hours long.
Only
Yeah.
4. Wow. Wow.
Or maybe it was shorter. It was like 11 to 4 p.m. Yeah.
Whoa. You didn't have night
Yeah. It
dance?
was we had like 20 minutes of dancing.
Whoa.
It was a brunch wedding on a Sunday,
Whoa.
and we had like beer mimosas and a donut wall, and it was a
Sounds
buffet, like
cute.
brunch buffet. And I think it was fun because almost everyone had at least a couple people they knew there.
Nice. Yeah.
And so, didn't have that awkward, like standing in the corner, like with your date kind of
Oh my God.
energy, at least I think. Also, Marty's family is humongous. They're Polish
Yeah.
Catholics. And so half the room was family. So it just felt kind of like everyone was getting back together. So it
Yeah.
had good energy. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. And our ceremony was like 18 minutes long. And I
What?
was very proud of that. And we did our own, oh, I probably shouldn't say this, but we did our own vows. And I went second. And our rule was that like we could only do vows that were like 2 pages long or something. Like don't go over 2 pages. And the first thing I said when it was my turn, I didn't even realize how it would come off, but I said I cheated. And then I paused and then I said, because I wrote longer than we said we would write for, and I had like 4 pages for my vows. And there were like gasps in the room, like, you cheated. Like, no, I mean, like I went over the page count.
Oh my God, how
Yeah.
dramatic.
Yeah. And
That's
so
fun.
maybe that was fun. Maybe that was a fun part of it.
I'm so
Yeah.
sad that I didn't know you then. Like, I'm
I
sad that I missed
know.
your wedding. It's like, it
I think you
really,
would have had a
I
lot of
think
fun.
about that a lot. I'm like, God, that's really weird to make friends, become good friends with somebody like after they've like, hit certain parts of their life. And I'm like, oh my God, I didn't get to go to your wedding. That's weird.
We can have another one.
Can you do it again?
Okay. Just you, Marty, and I.
Yeah, yeah, just to satisfy me.
Yeah. Okay, from here, do I want to talk about like
Yes,
choosing a date, or do we
give
okay.
us what we've been waiting for, which is all the juicy information.
Okay. So I'm gonna say the caveat again. Any date you choose is a good
It's
date
fine.
to get married if you love the person you're marrying. You can't make a bad choice.
Yeah.
But if you really, really want to subscribe to like picking a date, I can give you the reason why it might feel important to you. And that is like the moment you get married, and you can choose the moment differently. I chose the moment that like we were saying our vows, and that's what I'm look at when I'm looking at our marriage chart. But
Mm,
that sets in place the birth chart basically of your marriage. And
yeah.
you can get really good information about like this, like the energy that's happening in your marriage. So like the 7 year itch corresponds with the first Saturn square of your marriage. And
Wow.
so, yes, it's pretty common for marriages to end if they're going to end at the 7 year mark, because that's when Saturn in the sky is squaring Saturn in your marriage chart. And so
Wow.
that's a challenge point. And Saturn brings challenges. Like
Mhm.
Saturn won't let you continue in an inauthentic
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah.
So there's sometimes very high pressure, sometimes there's not pressure at all. And usually if you don't feel pressure at the 7 year mark, it's because you've already worked through the authentication process with your partner and you're good to go for another 7 years, and you do another check-in. And Saturn will make sure you have that check-in. So the 14-year mark is another mark where like, do we want to keep going? And there usually is some tension there. Anyway, so choosing the date and time of your marriage is important. You can, on your wedding day, you can choose the moment you put on your dress, whatever. You can choose the moment that you do your vows. You can choose a different moment during the day, but the moment really does change everything. Just like in a birth chart, if you're born at 8 a.m., you have, let's say, a Sagittarius rising chart. But if you're born at 1 p.m., you will have a completely different rising sign.
Yeah.
So I want to stick to the day first, and then I'll talk about how to do rising sign stuff. So there's a couple of things that I've been reading up on, and I do subscribe to the more I'm reading about it. The first thing is when a planet is in retrograde, And that planet is very important to your birth chart or your partner's birth chart.
Mm-hmm.
You may want to wait until that planet is out of retrograde. So let's say that you are both Gemini rising or Virgo rising, which means Mercury is your ruling planet, and Mercury is retrograde the week or so that you want to get married. Maybe wait until like a couple more weeks when it's out of retrograde. Another thing is that Venus retrograde is pretty widely understood as the moment. It's 40 days long or 42 days long. I think it's 40 days long. Venus retrogrades every once in a while. It's not every year. And Venus is a planet of love and connection. And when Venus is in retrograde, that is often when people in relationships start to have those moments where they're like, do I want to be in this relationship? There's just like this energetic, like, is this working for me? Do I actually want this? And this can relate to your job. This can relate to anything. We're about to experience a pretty significant, I would say, Venus retrograde because of everything else that's happening in the sky coming up. So Venus will be retrograde in Scorpio and Venus this fall. And I just found out, looking at my marriage chart, that Venus is in retrograde for our marriage chart. And the wisdom behind that is that when you get married during the Venus retrograde, there's just this energetic resonance of like maybe doubt or dissatisfaction when it comes to connection. I don't feel that in my marriage. So like really take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
But if Venus is super, super important to you as a person or in your birth chart, I would highly suggest choosing a date outside of Venus retrograde. Again, it doesn't happen every year. It's only 40 days long, so it should be easy to avoid that. But there are a lot of celebrity couples that get married during a Venus retrograde that get divorced during the next Venus retrograde, which is an 8-year cycle. The next Venus retrograde in the same sign. Yeah. So every 8 years, we have a Venus retrograde in Scorpio or Venus, or Scorpio or Libra. So 8 years ago, when I got married, Venus was in retrograde in Scorpio. So every 8 years that will happen. Anyway, so I think there is something to just like be careful about avoiding the Venus retrograde. What's another thing is that there's a concept of void of course moon. And when the moon is void of course, that means that the moon is not making any aspects to a major planet until the next zodiac sign that it moves into. And when anything begins in a void of course moon phase, and it's not very long, it's usually only like a few hours or a day, but if something occurs or starts for the first time in that phase, it usually doesn't persist. And I really believe that, especially the ancient version of the void of course moon, which like only happens once or twice a year. The more modern void of course moons happen pretty regularly, like once a week. I don't know. It's regular enough where it's like, yeah, it's a thing. But I would just be careful to get married out of a void of course moon if you want it to persist. That is really easy to find if you just look up like void of course moon calendar. Mm-hmm. And literally sometimes it's just like hours. So if you want to keep the day, just say your vows outside of the void of course moon period. I know that sounds insane, but like if the void of course moon period ends at 3 p.m., just say your vows at 4 p.m. You're fine.
Yeah.
You know?
So these are like a lot of days like to not get married. So that it's more
not
about
get married.
So it's more about just looking at these time periods or specific days when not to do it.
Yes. Okay, so then we should talk about what to do.
Yeah.
So if you really want to be very designed about this, choosing a day where the sun or the moon or Venus are in your 7th house or your partner's 7th house would be a very beautiful thing to do. As long as there's not a bad aspect to either of them. So let's say like you have an Aries 7th house, you might want to get married in the spring when the sun is in Aries, because that will bring just like general like luminescence to your house of marriage. Mm-hmm. Another thing you can think about is like, okay, what are other parts of your chart that you want your marriage to bring you? And like maybe one of your personal desires for your marriage is to bring you children. Maybe you want the sun or moon or Venus, or maybe Jupiter, to be placed in your fifth house, which is the house of children. So let's say, well, Jupiter's in Leo right now. So what does that make? So if you're an Aries rising and you're getting married when Jupiter's in Leo, Jupiter will be in your fifth house. And if you want a lot of children or just one child, that's a really good time to choose for you.
Hmm.
And of course, you have to be fair to your partner's chart as well. I'm just lucky that my partner has the same rising sign as me. So everything
I know.
that it comes to timing in our life usually lines up in an interesting way. Another thing that you can do, okay, so this is the more complicated or complex thing, is that when you know you're going to say your vows or whatever you're going to choose as the first breath of your marriage, that is the moment your marriage is born, and that is when the rising sign is set. So let's say that well, I can tell you that my marriage is a Sagittarius rising, pretty sure. Yeah, Sagittarius rising, and we were born. We were married in Libra season, so the sun was in the 11th house for us, which I didn't plan our wedding as an electional astrologer because I wasn't practicing that at the time.
Yeah.
But I like that our sun, our marriage sun, is in the 11th house because we do feel like generally really blessed with the people in our lives. Like our friends are just such beautiful parts of our life and marriage. And the moon was in Sagittarius. So the moon is in the first house, which also feels very true to our marriage. Like we really are,
The
we
12th house.
feel very connected. What was that?
The 12th house.
The moon would be in the first house because we're a Sagittarius rising.
Sorry. Okay. They were talking about being a
Yeah.
Cancer.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Capricorn rising.
Our
Got it.
Yeah, our birth charts, the moon would be in the 12th, but in our marriage charts, at the first house. And that feels very much like the identity of our marriage, is that we're very emotionally like telepathic. And that feels good to me. But there are some really rough stuff happening too. Like we have Venus retrograde in the 12th, things that I would not have chosen if I was designing this. I would have asked to get married at noon or 1 if I knew. So anyway, if you know that there's a difficult planet at a certain part in the sky, you can avoid putting those planets in difficult houses. Like we have Saturn in the second house, which means that our material success will be delayed in our marriage. And that is a reality we're living with, but we're fine with. But
Yeah.
I maybe would have moved that Saturn over 1 or 2 houses to give us difficulty or delay in a different part of our marriage. So that's another thing, is like if the two of you have a shared value of maybe generational wealth, like that is what you want to do with your partner in your marriage, is build lasting generational wealth. You probably want Jupiter or Venus or the sun or the moon in the second house. And maybe this is the moment when you ask an astrologer to help you find this.
Yeah.
But I think it's a really interesting thing. Like we can talk about like ethically about fate, because also parents sometimes choose or avoid certain dates when their children are born by like inducing labor and stuff like that. And I don't know how I feel about that. But when it comes to marriage, I think I would have chosen to get married at a different time, but on the same day, because I really like having our marriage be a Libra sun and a Sagittarius moon, because it just feels like us, you know?
Cute.
Okay. So I think that's my spiel. Do you want to say anything or ask anything before I move on?
Yeah, I have so many questions. Yeah. I mean, I think if everyone should meet with KP if they're wanting to know more information and they're planning. And there's also like, I mean, wedding is such big business that it also like, that's a whole nother topic, but sometimes you don't even get to choose what date if you like are so set on like what your setting is or your venue. Like I know, especially in
It's true.
California, it's like impossible. You could be waiting for a whole year at least, right? And there's like one day available. You want this
Yeah.
big venue, and they're like, okay, we have October 9th available, and that's it. And you're like, well, okay, then that's it, and I can't choose anything else. So a lot of those factors, just based on venue, feel already predetermined or like you have no control over. So that sucks.
Yeah.
Also, that aspect of it sucks because I'm sure a lot of people wish they could have a lot more election when it came to the dates and time, but that's kind of the reality of like the wedding industry now, and like living in a beautiful, busy place like California where everyone wants to get married and most people do it on Saturdays, right? So like there's only
Yeah.
a certain number of Saturdays within a calendar year or even like a season where it's like nice to get married. So that really narrows it down quite a bit, right? But also, you
Yeah.
don't have to get married on a Saturday. You can get married any freaking day.
Yeah, I liked getting married on a Sunday, but we chose that day because we started dating on October 14th. So we knew that we just wanted to keep that date.
Nice.
I
Yeah.
also like the numerology. I wasn't really into numerology when we got married, but the numerology of that date is 6, which is partnership,
Cute.
reciprocity. So I like that.
Cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I have actually helped, I not to precision, but I have helped some friends choose wedding dates. And it is really nice to be like, okay, like, do you have like a 3-week span or whatever? Like, do you have like a small selection to choose from? And then I can walk you through which dates like are better and why. And I've had some friends do that with, like, there was a friend of ours that had induction dates like across 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And she's like, which one is better? And I was like, probably the earlier ones because da da da. Yeah, that was when there was some chaos at the end of the month, but not in the
Mhm.
early part of the month. So
Yeah.
yeah. But again, I don't know how I feel ethically about choosing a child's date.
Yeah,
Although
it's
she didn't
different.
choose the date,
It's different from like because of like a marriage ceremony is a ritual. You know, it's like you're just
Yeah.
forming a contract, you're celebrating something, it's a party. It's I mean, yeah, to reduce it to just that. It's like, yeah, choosing when to have a baby feels a little bit more involved. Like
Yeah.
there's
A
like an
whole life.
opinion involved. Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah.
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 The more I talk about it, it's like, oh, this is so exciting. I love choosing wedding dates. It's so fun.
Really?
Because
That's
like
so fun.
every wedding date or every marriage chart has Saturn and every marriage chart has Mars. You just like
That's bad?
try to move them where they won't do the most damage. Yeah.
Sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone really needs to meet with you to talk about this.
I would be honored. I hope it's clear. I think marriage is cool.
I think
If
we
you think
all
it's
get
cool,
that.
it's cool.
I think we
Yeah.
all get that about you.
Hmm.
We get you're like really into it.
And also people who are suffering inside of their own marriages. Like it hurts my heart so much to witness that. And yeah, I think just maybe being a Libra sun, it's like it's pretty top of mind for me as like a human experience. Like of all the human experiences, like marriage is really fascinating to me.
Yeah, same. Hmm.
Yeah.
You should be a couples therapist.
Okay. I shouldn't say this on the air, but I was just looking up marriage and family therapist programs in the city I'm about to move to.
You were not. My God.
I didn't want to tell you,
Ah! So now you're telling me
but
online.
yeah, yeah, I'm telling you on recording. Yeah, the thought of being a couples therapist is really interesting to me. I
Really?
don't know if I have the chops, but
I don't know if you do
yeah.
either.
But what
You're
we talked about before we started recording, I
empathetic.
was like, yeah, she should divorce him.
I know.
Get rid of him.
No, it's not just that. It's that you're such a deep feeler, and
Yeah.
which is the topic that we're going to talk about in some episode is how to what was it? How to how to be okay with other people suffering.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not to be okay with it, but like how to
Yeah. There was a word you used that
I
was
don't remember,
perfect.
but it's it's like kind of sitting with other people being in pain. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a tough
I
one.
can do that. I do that
I
all the
can do
time,
it. I can do
Chelsea.
it.
I look at suffering all day long. I just want to say it's so nice to have you back. I don't want to do a solo episode ever again.
Yeah, really? You didn't like talking to yourself?
No, I enjoyed it, but you're so much more enjoyable.
Thank you. I know.
So this is when we talk about things. Chelsea has an Oracle deck coming out this year. There's going to be a link in the show notes for you to get on that mailing list so that you can
sign up
hear
for
first.
updates. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm so excited about it.
Yay.
What's the other thing that we're talking about? Oh, I think we're entering the season when people are going to start applying to grad school to become a therapist. So we should link to your
Let's
mini
go
course basically on
my mini course. That's right.
So last year, Chelsea put together this great resource for everything you need to know before applying to grad school.
Yeah.
Basically to should you go to grad school? Should you become a therapist? If you want to, here's everything you need to know. So we'll put that in the show notes.
Yeah.
I'm still taking meetings for people as a book doula retainer, and it's something I'm really excited to do, is to help people in various ways create the book that they've been basically saying out loud their whole life. So if that's you, message me. We can talk about if my book doula process is a good fit for you, and if it's not, I have some suggestions for other people.
Yeah.
And I'm also obviously a therapist. Oh my God, Freudian slip. I'm obviously an astrologer. I'm not a therapist yet. I'm an astrologer. So I've just listed a few different offerings, including a couples reading, a caregiver's reading, which used to be called a newborn reading. Because of the ethics. What was that?
Mommy and me.
Mommy and me. Yeah. So it's for caretakers. So this could be for people who are in the profession of caregiving, or for parents of a child. And you can read more about my approach to that. I do not prescribe things about your child. I think that is really unethical. I really want you to be equipped to help them become who they are. And then I do general readings. I do artist audits. So if you're an artist and you want an astrological perspective on your art making, it's one of my favorite things to do. And then there's some written versions. I have an astro archetypes document that is visual. And I also write a lot about your archetypes in your chart, which is also really helpful for artists or people who create things. And I write general readings. There's some people who just do not want to do a live call, and that's cool. And I love typing out my interpretation. So I think that's all of them. And that's everything. Do you have anything else to say, Chichi?
Parts and Charts might be in LA in October, so we'll keep you posted. We might, who knows what we're going to do? It might be something special if you're in the LA region, if you're in SoCal.
Yeah. Actually, if you have an event early to mid October, I think we'll be there around the 10th. And you want us to be there, or you want to tell us about it, let us know. We have some plans with someone who's been on the podcast before, Corey, to do a hangout, but we will be there for a couple of days so we can do something else. So reach out, let us know.
We'll keep you posted. Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
See ya.
Thank you for joining us for Parts and Charts, the IFS and Astrology podcast. If something sparked insight or resonated with you, we'd love to hear from you.
No, really, we're here to make friends. Reach out to us. Leave a comment, subscribe, and if you feel called, share this episode with someone you care about. Or, if you want to work with us one-on-one and go deeper with this work, check the link in the show notes for how to find us.
Until next time, may all of you feel a part of the family.